Okay, everyone, welcome to today's webinar, Getting the Most Out of Atlassian and Opsgenie. My name is Sean Pinney, and I'm joined by Colin Saunders. Colin, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. So we've got a good size. Looks like there's a bunch of people coming into the room right now, so that's good. So we've got some more people joining. So thanks for joining us, and we are going to dive right in. So as always, you can get the most out of the webinar. If you have questions, please enter them into the webinar box at any time throughout the presentation, and we'll answer them either in the middle or we'll save time at the end as well. We'll probably have a line for 30, 40 minutes or so. And we're going to spend, I'm going to hand things off to Colin here in a minute, but really what we're talking about today is kind of the intersection of Opsgenie as kind of that core incident management tool, and now as being part of the Atlassian family, the broader modern incident management and IT environment, where you've got Opsgenie sitting between your monitoring tools, not just your monitoring tools, but also Slack and all of the Atlassian products that you may or may not be using, including Status Page, of course, Jira, Service Desk. So whether alerts are coming in and are being generated on a human side from tickets, or they're being generated on the Jira side, really the name of the game is, with our kind of being part of the Atlassian family now, is really kind of removing the silos of data and making sure that everyone has access and is up to date, regardless if they're a stakeholder, a customer, a team member, regardless of what tools they're using. All that information is shared across the different platforms. And that's what Colin is going to show today, kind of how customers, a few different use cases of how customers are kind of integrating these tools with all of our great integrations that we do have. And these integrations are only getting better as now we're part of the Atlassian family. So that's it on the slides. We're going to dive right into the meat of this thing and the demo. So I'm going to make Colin the presenter here, and we will do it. All right. Get that. Yep. Okay.
Well, to kind of kick this thing off, just to give you a high-level overview of what I'm going to cover today, I'm going to first start off with just going through some of the integrations with Jira Service Desk. I'll probably actually just focus on Jira Service Desk today, and then also Status Page integration. Walk through the bidirectional functionality between those integrations, and then kind of simulate a workflow and talk through how it's going to go. We're going to start in Jira Service Desk, send some stuff over to Opsgenie, and then go ahead and generate an incident within Status Page, and talk through some of the different things that are happening. So the first place I'm going to start over here is at our integrations page. So in case you've never really kind of dove into the Opsgenie platform before, just a high level, we've got over 200 pre-built integrations. Anything that we don't have pre-built out of the box, we do have the ability to integrate with via API or via email. So in the event that maybe you wanted to create an incident from maybe a monitoring tool rather than like Service Desk, like I'm going to show you today, you can go ahead and kind of swap out that workflow as well. So let's take a look at the Jira Service Desk integration. So all of our integrations have the same framework. So you'll notice when I show you Jira Service Desk, it's going to look pretty similar to our Status Page integration as well. You see this gray box. This is just going to walk you through the configuration on the corresponding tool side. So in this case, Jira Service Desk. Within the simple view, you'll have, this is really meant to get things up and running quickly. You determine where the alerts that are generated from the corresponding tool will go to, which team that is. And then within both Service Desk and Jira and Status Page, there's this bidirectional functionality where you can go ahead and set some action mapping between the different tools. So this checkbox will allow me to go ahead and send updates back to the corresponding Jira Service Desk ticket. So if there was an alert generated by Jira Service Desk and we wanted to add a comment to the issue when it's acknowledged, close the issue or resolve the issue when the alert's closed, or even add notes, you have the ability to go ahead and map those actions. There's a few different things. There's a number of different things that you can go ahead and map on the Opsgenie side. And right now we can go ahead, create, resolve, and add comments. Now, the more heavily used feature I would definitely say is being able to generate issues from other Opsgenie alerts. So if you do have a monitoring tool tied into your Opsgenie account today, you have the ability to go ahead and generate some Jira Service Desk or Jira issues directly through Opsgenie. So you can go ahead and dictate what we're creating those issues for by utilizing these filter conditions down below and digging into some of the different properties of the Opsgenie alerts. So if I wanted to do it based on a tag or a priority, I have the ability to do so. Cool. And then in the event that we have that you're using an on-premise install or like Jira Server or Jira Data Center, you can use the Send via Marid option to go ahead and integrate with those tools. The advanced section is going to be where we customize the way that the alerts look when they're created by Jira Service Desk in this case. So over here on the left-hand side, we have our actions section. What we're using when we receive a payload to the endpoint that's specified in the settings, we use this actions to determine what action should be taken within Opsgenie. So in this case, if these filter conditions are matched, we're going to create an alert in Opsgenie. And then what that alert will look like is determined down here in this section. So you can customize that by hard coding or utilizing any of these different blue drag and drop boxes to really make sure that what you're getting, what's coming across is as actionable as possible. From there, I'm going to pop over into our status page integration. So here, so you'll see same view and the simple view, and then we've got that gray box deciding the team. So this is deciding when alerts are generated by status page, where those alerts will go to. And then we have the Opsgenie to status page piece, so being able to go ahead and, all right, if an alert's created, let's go ahead and create an incident. Now you can tie this to components using tags within Opsgenie. I'll show you my setup within my integration, and then also dictating. I say the most common is if an alert's closed, let's go ahead and close resolve the corresponding incident as well. And you have the ability to dictate what creates it. If you want it to happen automatically, you can do it this way. We do have this custom action executed on an alert, which is set up in my profile, where I can press a button to create the corresponding incident and status page, which sometimes comes in handy as well. Now, just to quickly give you a look into what I have built out today, I'm going to go to my configured integrations. And let's go down to application support. So if I click in here, so this is in the advanced view, but if I go to the settings, we can see that simple view again. Right now I have it set up so that if a custom action is executed and that button is create incident, let's create an incident and update the corresponding component based on tags. And then if that alert's closed, let's resolve the corresponding incident. And I'm right now only doing this for priority 1 critical alerts. So as far as setup goes, within status page, what the pieces that we're going to need from them to go ahead and set this up are the API key and page ID. If you're looking for that, that is found within your profile. If I go into the manage account section, you'll see that there's a tab in the Manage Account section that's listed as API. If I click in here, you'll see both the page ID and the API key are listed there, and that's what we're going to go ahead and input into Opsgenie. Cool. Now, for those familiar with Opsgenie, the alerts that are generated, they'll obviously follow they're going to go ahead and get sent to the teams and follow the process that's built out within those teams. So follow the routing rules, escalation policies, on-call schedules. So right now everything's is being sent to my application support team. If I click in here, we'll see in this main section that I've got some differentiation up here in the routing rules. So when the alert comes in, it's going to follow a top-down order saying, if the priority is P1, let's go ahead and use this critical escalation. For all other alerts, let's use this normal escalation. And then it refers down here to my on-call schedule, which has a couple different rotations to cover all 24 hours of the day. Cool. I won't harp too much on that piece. So I did mention, and I'll show you where I did that as well. If you want to use that custom action option, so being able to press a button instead of automatically creating the incidents in status page, you have the option to do so here. So I've got a couple different ones. The create incident button you'll see here. And this can be done at a global level too, utilizing what we call policies. What these are team-based or global rules where it says, right now it's just set to match all alerts, so I have that button on all the alerts. But you can go ahead and say only for these alerts, only for certain alerts or during a certain time, we want to go ahead and add to the alert itself. Now if I go into the show advanced fields section, this is all being pulled in from the original alert, but I've gone ahead and added this create incident action here. This will allow me to choose that option from the drop down when an alert comes in to this team. On top of that, I've also created one for Jira. So in the same way that you can just choose what creates an incident in status page by pressing a button, you can do the same thing for Jira as well. And you'll see that right here. Now, the job that Opsgenie is going to play is not only tying the different tools that you have together, but as I mentioned, going ahead and making sure we're notifying the right people and escalating accordingly. A lot of times when when I speak with our customers or prospects, the reason I set up my create incident to go ahead and be a button rather than do it automatically is they sometimes want to get eyes on the alerts or incidents first. They don't necessarily want automatic creation from an alert coming from a monitoring tool. Sometimes the messaging can be a little fuzzy, not necessarily stuff that you want sent out to either end users or even sometimes your internal status page if you're using an internal versus an external status page. So that's one of the reasons why I've added it in that way today. And then the final main section of Opsgenie is going to be that my profile section, where we do cover the ways that the end users themselves are going to be notified. So if I pop in here, you'll see that this will be my different notification rules and contact methods. I can have up to 2 of each of these contacts and then as many mobile apps as I choose. Then down here in my notification rules, it's really just an area where I go ahead and determine if an alert comes in and it matches X criteria. So in this case, P1, let's go ahead and notify me in these different manners. And I can set these to repeat and customize them in whichever way I feel is best. Now, to kind of go through that workflow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create an alert in Opsgenie from Jira Service Desk to start things off. Let's go ahead. So I have it set within my and I'll actually show you guys my Jira Service Desk integration really quickly, just so that you understand why it's creating the alert. Bidirectional and app support Jira Service Desk. So I can go ahead and filter in. So if I only want, depending on, and this can differ between Jira and Jira Service Desk depending on if you're using automation rules or global webhooks. If I only want alerts from a certain project or of a certain issue type, to go ahead and create an Opsgenie. I'm just going to do the issue type here, and I want it to be an incident. I can go ahead and set that up to work in that way. So sometimes something like a change request isn't something that necessarily needs to be paged out to for Opsgenie users. So another area where you can kind of dig into what we're creating and making sure that when that flow is going through, it is kind of seamless. So I'm going to create my issue. We're going to say noticing some issues when using the billing application. Cool. So I don't think I have a billing application, but let's go ahead and see. We'll just say billing services for now as a component. Application is very slow to load. So it's not responding at all. All right, so if this was coming from an end user, you can go ahead and set this up to send to Opsgenie. Maybe this is we'll just make this P2 for now. And I'm going to go ahead and create this within Jira Service Desk. So now if I pop into Opsgenie, you'll all see that there's already that one new alert listed there. The component came through as a tag. I actually set the integration to send it as a P1. Get some of the information that was pulled through. I have it linked back so that if I want to go ahead and click into the issue within Jira, I can look at that, see what priority they're sending me, and just some additional information there. So if I'm an end user looking at this, well, yeah, I can go ahead and create the incident. You'll see that drop down's there. But if it's a real incident there, I have the opportunity to generate an incident within Opsgenie as well. So I'm just going to acknowledge this. Let me go back to the alert list and say, you know what, I need to pull in specific teams. So let's go ahead, I'm just going to create an incident. And I do have the option in my team to do something with our billing application. So you'll see that, and I created just a quick template for us to use. So you'll notice this tag right here. This is what we use to go ahead and to determine the component within status page. So it's what allows us to go ahead and tie the specific incident that we generate in Opsgenie to the status page incident. Now if I click in next, I can go ahead and remove these. But if I need to pull in additional teams other than my own team, I can do so. And I'm just going to create this here. So I created an incident within Opsgenie. It's really just meant as a way to collaborate when I need to go ahead and set up a conference bridge, get everybody all into one single place, and then corral the correct responders. So I just have one responder team because I removed the other ones. I'm going to click into the responder alert that we generated. One, you'll see that you can go ahead and set this up to create an issue in Jira Service Desk. So that bidirectional functionality came into play here, and we have that to go back to. So if I want to check out Service Desk, it looks like somebody changed the project. So I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab. Let's give this a second to load. But if I think that this deserves an alert within or an incident within status page, this is when I'm going to go ahead and press this create incident button. So now if I go to the activity log here, one, you'll see that we're corralling and we're trying to notify the correct people on my team to go ahead and respond to this incident. When I went and pressed that create incident and update component, or that create incident button, it went ahead and added a tag to it. So if I refresh the alert, you'll see that there was a tag that was added here. if I go into the status page, you'll see that this has been marked with degraded performance. I listed that there's an issue with our billing application, and we can kind of automate, or not automate per se. In this case, we do have the ability to do it, but I chose to press the button. But make that process a lot stronger and more seamless. Now, if you want something to track to that's considered an actual incident within your Jira Service Desk instance or Jira instance, I'm going to go to Open Issues. So as I mentioned, when I created that incident, well, we have that issue key right here, that SD160. If I go into the Issue Navigator, give this a minute to load up. I want to see all open issues. So let's find that SD160. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Apologies. Let me just search it from here. It's easier. SD1. So you'll see, no, 60. Let's go to the Service Desk project. Uh-oh. Looks like somebody deleted the project. Let me make sure that we're looking at the correct instance here. So the other thing within Opsgenie is that when you go ahead and we're creating issues or updating anything, you can go ahead and look to see where we're creating those issues. So now if I want to go ahead and track that in my integration, I have the ability to do so. But to show you when I close this, so I'm going to acknowledge this here, and I'm going to go ahead and just close out my related incident that I generated in Opsgenie. So we'll close that. That'll close the responder alert that I had there. So you'll see this now closed. If I click into the alert itself and go to the activity log, you're going to see that we sent a resolve issue to that Jira Service Desk, or that's sitting. And if we give it a second here, we went ahead and we're going to send to that OGPSE status page as well. Fresh that out. Give it a moment. I'm going to quick take a look at my integration that I have. Jira Service Desk, figure out exactly where we generated that issue. Let's see. So if you ever need to kind of look and to see where we're creating stuff, you can go into the integration and take a look here. So we've got the project key, which is a service request. Okay. Now, if I go into here, let's take a look at what projects we have. So this is just good practice to kind of get in when you're kind of setting all this stuff up. If you need to track in the systems, you have the ability to do so directly from Opsgenie's activity log. So let me see what we've got here. So there's Service Desk 1. Go ahead and open that up. Oh, while we were talking there, you'll see that 1, it's all clear. Now if I come in here, you'll see we resolved that. So when I went ahead and closed, it shows the incident's been resolved. And you'll have those past incidents show up in there as well. Huh, doesn't like me today. So now, if I went ahead and made the adjustment to go ahead and maybe send to this BCN, now I'll actually do that to give you an idea of what that would look like as well. So on the setup on the Opsgenie side, to get that bidirectional functionality, you're going to need to go ahead and add the issue type. And this right now is just a cloud instance. So let's just update this. In the event that you are integrated via Google, one important thing to note is that you're going to want to utilize an API token for Jira Service Desk or Jira as well, particularly with cloud. That can be generated through your profile. So if I go to manage my account, and we'll go to some security. Check out my API tokens that I have here. I go ahead and I'm just going to revoke this for now and create a new one. So this is really important that you do this, otherwise you might run into some issues with the password. So I'm just going to copy this to my clipboard. Now, as if I was configuring this in Opsgenie, all I need to do is add in that information. We'll save the integration. Cool. So that's gone ahead and saved. When I go ahead and generate alerts now for this team, and I'll just send through a fake alert through my Postman instance. Cool. So now if I click into this alert that let me just refresh the page since I just sent it through. When I click into Opsgenie and refresh this page really quickly, see the alert that I went ahead and sent through. Now if I look at the activity log, we've got that BCM 87, so it's updated with my particular project. Now as I go ahead and acknowledge, we're going to go ahead and send to the proper project within Jira. And the problems with having a shared instance here.
Yeah, seriously.
Things get mixed up.
Got a little live demo.
Yeah. So I'll click in here. Take a look at that specific alert. We'll see that the comment was added as well. Get some open. A lot of open. Next down here. There we go. And what did you say, 87? I think it was. There we go. That's the one that I went ahead and generated as well. So looking at the actual issue within Jira Service Desk, you'll see that synchronization between the two tools. Looking at my specific alert and any additional things that were added. So if I go down to the activity as well, went ahead and created the incident. You'll see that I acknowledge the alarm and that will all sync. Now, when I go ahead and close it, we're going to send to Jira Service Desk again. Really, the idea behind this is keeping everything in sync. It works similar with status page, which I showed you earlier, where if you want to go ahead and send those incidents over to status page, you have the ability to do so as well. Make sure that when alarms are coming through from your disparate systems, you have a way of funneling them into the correct places based on the alarm type and things along those lines. So you'll see that marked as completed once I went ahead and closed the alert within Opsgenie. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover today. We can definitely dig into some questions around the flow or any questions around Opsgenie. Be happy to kind of field those as well.
Great, yeah, that was a great time, guys. If you guys have questions, or anyone on the line about how, if you've tried setting up these different integrations yourself, or you're new to the Atlassian side, or vice versa, we definitely have 10 or so minutes. We can definitely take some questions, and then we can follow offline if anything gets too in depth.
Yeah, I agree. I would go over it.
Colin, what are you seeing in terms of early integration now we're part of Atlassian? Like, which tools are people going, is Service Desk into Opsgenie, or is it more, I guess it depends on your scenario.
It really, it really depends. It really depends on the organization's desired workflow. I am seeing it's a lot more common that people will be sending things into Opsgenie from Jira Service Desk.
Right, they're creating tickets or customers calling in.
Yeah.
And then they're able to
status page is definitely a big thing where a lot of people want to, whether that be internally or externally, a lot of teams really want to give that view into what's going on, whether that be in the IT org or in the engineering org. You can go ahead and show if you're experiencing any issues and making sure that end users are aware. And always creating that everything within Jira Service Desk or Jira, being able to track that, so when they come back, when I want to come back and see kind of how long did it take, what went on, I can quickly look into the issues and the tickets and understand some of the information that's being passed through from different systems. So if notes are added in Opsgenie or notes are added in status page, we can pass that through properly. So those are some of the things that I'm seeing right now.
Cool. And it looks like we do have a question towards the team-based service management in Opsgenie. How does that work on the kind of the Opsgenie side?
Absolutely, and that kind of ties into that incident that I kicked off. So within the teams, you have different services that the different teams own. So my billing application was one of the things that I have as a service owned by my application support team. So they can go ahead and define whether they want that to share that with all Opsgenie users or just team members. If I click into the service itself, you'll see this idea of templates and rules. So this is just, so what incidents are within Opsgenie are ways for us to orchestrate response between multiple teams and have kind of independent workflows there. So you'll see the different responders that are specified here. You can have multiple teams in there, and each team will receive their own alert. And those alerts will roll up into that overarching incident. And that can be done either by creating a template that can be reused, where we can go ahead and tie a conference bridge to it to get on the line and get everybody working towards a resolution. And then on top of that, you do have this idea of incident rules. So these are these utilize our flexible rules engine to go ahead and say, okay, if something comes in, matches the priority P1 critical, and the tag is billing, we want to automatically kick off an incident. The messaging to those responders is going to be the messages that are coming through for those alerts. So we're automatically pulling the message description. In this case, I'm just having that, making the priority P1 critical. And then I also do have the opportunity to notify stakeholders. And stakeholders are more so users that maybe cross-functional teams that need to be notified but aren't going to be fixing the issue. And that's,
do you run into a lot of stakeholders, like with customers? Are they aware of the stakeholder license? Is that something that you're more educating them on, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot. There's a lot of questions around it, exactly what it is. how it works. But it's really just meant to be a way that you can ensure that you're notifying specific people that are affected by what we call an incident within Opsgenie. So an incident that relates to the service.
Right.
You know
They're
that
not,
we'll
they're
see,
not out there fixing it. But
you
they
know
need to be
that
aware
they'll
of it.
receive an email. You know that they'll receive a push notification.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more dire than they just want to go ahead and take a look at a page. So that I find that happening sometimes too.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on the workflow, the desired workflow within the org, and that's where the service management piece can come in handy.
Great. All right. Any other questions? Now's a good time to chime in. If not, we can wrap up for the day, and we can always take questions offline. You can always, if questions do come up as you guys are setting up these different integrations and digging into the Atlassian side or the Opsgenie side, you can contact us anytime on the website. There's a little chat bubble, or in the app as well. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions for right now, so that's fine. We'll wrap up. So thank you for joining us. And if you do have any further questions, reach out to us anytime. We're happy to help you get set up. Thanks for coming.